We're going to talk about borders or curves on layout number 6 today. And previously I've showed you how to use the Sizik die cuts, and this is only using one die cut other than the bow. It has a curve and they're going in the same order, just upside down. So we have 1, 2, 3 on each page. The top ones are yellow, and so they'll be facing downward, and then the pink and the blue are facing upward. So when you first got your kits, I'd given you a die cut page with my die cuts impressed on it so that you could have a paper pattern. This is the one we used for layout 4, I think it was. This week we're doing 5 and it's just straight cutting. So I'm going to go over how to use your paper cut. And I'm actually going to cut off. You can trace your pattern and make an extra one. But I'm just going to cut off my pattern. And we're going to ignore this curve. We're just using this curve today. And this is how we want this to end up on the page. We want to curve like, let's see, actually, might be like that, upside down. So I'm going to turn my pattern over because I'm drawing on the back side of my paper. And I left the sides of my pattern there. Let's see, can you see? Yeah. Left my sides of my pattern. It's almost exactly the 6-inch size. And I have, this is the back of the pattern. And I'm going to go right up to the edge. We always can adapt it later, but I'm keeping it straight. So the curve is right near the end. All right, now I'm just going to trace the curve. I'm using a number 2 pencil. It's on the back, so it shouldn't matter. And I'm going to do 2 of these at once. So I get them both the same. I lined it up on that side. Remember, this is upside down a little. This way the curve will be very similar on each page. I'm just tracing it. There we go. So if you want them exactly the same, you can cut them together. It's your choice. But now I'm just going to cut these. And I am doing it 2 at once. If we have a mistake, we have a double mistake, so it'll look like it matched. And I'm cutting across the pencil line that I cut on the back of the paper. So now we have 2 of these ready. And they are the big bump. Let me show you on the page. The big bump is on the same side. So that's how it'll be on our layouts. So that's our first one. Those are 6A and 6H. Now let's move on. Put that in the trash. This is the back. We want 6 C's and 6 J's. This is the color we want to show, and it's the bottom piece, and they are doing, let's see, they have the big bump. Okay, so they want it just like that. So to draw that, I'm going to do it all, I'm going to draw it on the back. And I think I'll just draw one this time since that worked fine cutting 2 of these papers together. They're not as thick as our cardstock, but that way you know both pieces will be the same when you cut them out for each layout. So I'm just tracing this. Now granted, when you use the die cut, you have the nice stitching line. When you do it by hand, you don't. You can draw a stitching line if you want. There we go. I can see that well enough. I've just realized I didn't even put my light on. So we'll see what happens here. Cutting two at once, keeping it in the palm of my hand so they're staying together. And just cutting along my traced line. Now it's very nice to own all these die cuts and all, but sometimes we just don't have. Lovely. Okay, so that's 6C and 6A. We don't have the resources for that. Now the pink is the same exact way. They want the bump to follow the one before, so that's on the big side. So I'm going to flip it over again, back side. I'm going to be drawing on the line side. And we need to draw one, both the same size. One reason I like keeping a side edge on my pattern is it's because it's hard to know where they line up. So this makes it easier. Okay, tracing on the back of the paper again, using a number 2 pencil. You could use a pen, but you want to make sure it doesn't go through the other side. There we go. I'm going to cut on the inside of my line because I made that line a little thick. Lay my two pieces together. Same direction. Same exact. Doesn't matter. It's polka dots, won't show. And now I'm fussy cutting along the line. I guess it's not too fussy. Curve cutting along the line. And these pieces will now be easier to plan number 6 for next week. Now, if you do have a Sizzix machine or whatever to use your edge dies, go ahead and do that. You'll have a nice stitching line on it. But I'm doing what you're doing this week and cutting it out just so as a reminder. Now this layout also has 2 bows, and they happen to be in the pretty, let's see, what color are the bows? They might even be the polka dot ones. I can't remember. I made all my bows at once. And we have a flower, blue flowers on each side. That's for number 6. So it also has a little sticker. For number 5, we're using You Make Me Happy, and the printing was very light, so I made a die cut for myself. But the joy, they're putting a cluster here with different stamps and a heart and a little teeny joy. Feel free to make a larger joy die cut for lesson 6. Today we're doing, Thursday we're doing So Happy. So I just wanted to give you a head start. I know so many of you are way ahead of me, and I just wanted to show you how to cut these curves. So I'm going to do one more little video today on how to prepare for number 8 and number 9 cutting, because I had goofed up that video. So talk to you later.